welcome to the Intuitively Wild podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Levine. Living intuitively wild is about coming back home to ourselves. Here, we talk about how to live connected to ourselves, others, and nature, and make a commitment to radical authenticity, vulnerability, and acceptance. On this podcast, we delve into a wide range of topics that span the human experience. We peel back the layers and talk about the things that are often not talked about. This is a space for us all to walk and wander this path of life together. Let's dig into our roots and go deep. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast and welcome back to our first episode of the month, where every month we have a little tea time talk together and talk about our reflections for the month that has passed and set our intentions for the month to come. And although the year started off very slowly, the predictions were true that now that March has passed, I'm like, that went so fast. March did feel like it had a lot. It had a lot of energy. It had a lot going on. It was kind of this liminal moment in a lot of ways. One, because it had the spring equinox, and two, because in my own life personally, I'm in this moment of transition, and March really marked that for me. We had eclipse season, so we had our first Virgo eclipse that started a whole new chapter for the next 2 years, and then our last Aries eclipse, which ended a chapter from the last 2 years. Then we had all the retrogrades, so there's a lot going on astrologically, energetically, and a lot more to come, and I felt that. But although people say don't make any big decisions during retrogrades or eclipse season, don't sign any big contracts or leases, I did all of that. And there are caveats to that. Of course, it's if things were already in preparation beforehand, if you're already thinking about it before the retrogrades and eclipse season, which I was. And also if you're born in a certain retrograde, then when that time comes back around, it's not the same energy for you, which I was born in a Mercury retrograde, which makes so much sense because when Mercury is in retrograde, that's a time where we reflect and slow down and really process our thoughts. And since I'm always doing that, it makes sense that I was born in Mercury retrograde. But I also believe that it's really important to remember, especially as astrology becomes more and more popular, that it's just a tool for us to use for self-understanding and decision-making. It's just another tool to take on as we embrace life and navigate all that comes with life. But it's not a rigid rule to follow. It's not something that you can mess up or that you need to fear. So of course I had all the astrology in mind and all the things in mind, but I also knew what was right for me, because above all, I listened to myself, I listened to my intuition, and I know that that's how I make the decision that's right for me in each moment. But with all that being said, March was a lot and a lot did happen. I mean, first of all, Theo turned 5 and I got him when he was 3 months. So it's been almost 5 years of us doing life together. And I turned 28 and a half. When I rescued Theo, they told me that his birthday was mid-March. And so of course I said March 13th because 13 is my lucky number and my half birthday. So Theo turned 5. He is the only Pisces man that I love and will let into my life regularly. I also spent most of the month preparing for my first in-person event in New York, and then held my first event, and that was a big deal for me. It's something I've been working towards for a long time and wanting to do for a long time, and it really marks this next chapter in my life, both personally and professionally, of prioritizing community and connection and in-person events and experiences. And it was such a special event. You know, I can be really hard on myself around wanting things to be perfect and wanting everyone to have this transformative experience and wanting it to all go a certain way. And at the end of the day, was it perfect? Was I 100% happy with how everything went? No, because I can nitpick and just be really hard on myself, but I can look back and say with 100% certainty, I gave my all to that event. I showed up the best I possibly could. I did the best I possibly could for that event. And I'm content with how it went. And especially because I can keep in perspective that that's my first event. Like you have to start somewhere. I had to have my first. I had to have the lessons and the experiences that came with holding my first event. And I gave it my all, and so I'm happy with how it went. And even saying that is a big deal for me, being able to say that to myself, being able to say I gave it my all and I'm proud of myself for that. And so it was perfect for what it needed to be. And it was affirming that I want to do more, which is really a relief, because sometimes I can do things in person or make these certain decisions and then afterwards feel really exhausted, or just it doesn't feel aligned for some reason, or the one experience of it was perfect, but I don't want to do it again. And I don't feel that way. I feel ready to hold the next one and to plan the next one. And I have a bunch of ideas that I'm excited about. So that feels really good. And along those lines, we also welcomed in spring. So March is a big transition energy. And I've talked a lot about the transition from winter to spring in past episodes and Substacks and Instagram posts and all the things. So I won't go into that right now. But I do want to say that March really was this transition period in so many ways. We are all being ushered into a new chapter in our life. We are all closing one chapter, one book, one experience, and entering a whole new energy chapter experience. And that will be something different for each person and look different and feel different for each person. But we're all in this transition period together. And in a transition period comes some instability, uncertainty, lack of clarity. There's a lot that comes with it. And so that's why it's extra important to be really grounded in the tools and the rituals that support us, so that we can maintain our foundation and support ourselves through this in-between moment and whatever that might bring up for us. I can definitely reflect back on the themes showing up in my life in regards to this transition right now and for the last 2 years. A lot of it is around community and going from being very independent and living a solo life to embracing more connection and really devoting myself and my business to cultivating connection and community, and wanting to do that and having the capacity to do that and the excitement and the energy to do that. Another thing I've been reflecting on a lot is the ways that my anxiety and my eating disorder have prohibited me from doing that in the past, because having anxiety can be very isolating and lonely. And in the past, when I've been very lost in my eating disorder, it really keeps me stuck and stagnant and rigid, and really needing to stick to my routine and do things my way, and fear of anything that might impact my schedule. And so in the past, I wasn't able to be so open, and I wasn't able to embrace connection and friendships and just have this free life. And now I can. And of course, things are still challenging for me. I still have to manage my anxiety, and it's something I deal with every day. But I'm really excited to be able to direct my life in the way that I know I'm meant to. And it's something I actually talk about with my therapist a lot, how what I believe and what I feel and have been led to in regards to what my purpose is all about things that are very scary for me and put me really out of my comfort zone, such as getting out of my routine and being in uncertainty and being connected to other people and letting go of some of this independence and rigidity and need for control. And also another big theme is around joy and allowing myself to feel joy, to embrace joy, to find joy no matter what I'm doing. In the past, I didn't think I was worthy of joy, or I could only feel joy at certain times when I did certain things and I deserved it. I earned it. I worked hard enough. I proved myself. I was productive enough. And only then could I feel joy. If you've been around here long enough, you know that joy and desire is something I talk about. And I believe that our desires are meant to lead us on our path to our purpose. And our desires are meant to form our life because we're meant to enjoy our life. That's why we're here. Life is meant to be enjoyed, and that doesn't mean that it's always easy. I don't think that having an easy life is what is joyful. I think having a purposeful, meaningful, impactful life is what is joyful and what brings us true joy. And so learning how to allow myself joy no matter what, and knowing I am worthy of it no matter what, and that we all are, and that in fact restricting myself from joy means restricting myself from my purpose, because our joy leads us to our purpose and our purpose fuels our joy. So purpose and joy are so interconnected, for me at least. So for me, the themes have really been rooted in one way you could say work life and relationships, and another way you could say purpose and joy. But yeah, I'm just entering a whole new chapter. And with that being said, I'm recording this a couple of days in advance, of course, but on March 31st, I am moving, and I'm not moving far. I'm staying in upstate New York, so no one fret. I'm not moving to another state or country again, but I am moving to another town about 45 to 60 minutes away from where I live right now. And I signed the lease during March, and I'm moving in March. It has taken me months to find the right place, and I am very excited. Feeling a little overwhelmed by the move and just all the to-dos that come with that. But, I'm taking it day by day, moment by moment. And I'm excited for when this podcast episode comes out. It will be 2 days after I've done the big move, so hopefully starting to unpack boxes. And well, I definitely have started because I like to do things right away. So we'll see if I've finished unpacking the boxes, because there's a part of me that probably won't rest until all the boxes are unpacked and I feel settled. But that's a whole other thing. I'm really looking forward to putting roots into the town I'm moving to. And I'm going to be doing that in many, many different ways. And again, this is another way that my life has changed and transformed in the last 2 years, from feeling like I constantly wanted to wander and travel and not really feeling at home or rooted anywhere, or like I wanted to be rooted anywhere or felt any real need to be, or more so that I just didn't find the place that brought that out in me, to being like, no, I'm ready to put down roots. I need to, whether or not I want to all the time, because I still have this travel, lust, wander side of me that will always be there. But even when I have the thoughts pop up of like, no, I should move, I should travel somewhere new, I should just pack up and do it all again, there's something that's tethered me and saying, no, it's time now. This chapter of your life now is about putting down roots here and really being here and cultivating community here, being known here. And again, that's something that's super scary for me, but also feels like a core part of my purpose and my path right now. And so embracing that discomfort, sitting in that discomfort, and allowing for it and celebrating it. I also in March graduated from my tea ceremony certification course, which started on the winter solstice and ended on the spring equinox. And I was so sad when it ended. I am so sad. We met live every week, and I'm really going to miss those meetings. This course truly changed my life. As you may know, I'm an herbalist, and that's been a huge part of my path. And I see my connection to nature and plants and utilizing it in all the ways that I do as a core part of my spirituality and my connection to something greater, to the universe, God, whatever word you want to use. And this tea ceremony course felt just like another layer of that I didn't even know I was looking for. It really felt like an unlock for me. And it felt so natural. I had no idea what I was getting myself into when I signed up for the course. It was truly fully intuition led. I just was like, oh, I need to do this. And I showed up for the class and I was like, oh, I need to do this. I loved it so much and so excited to start hosting tea ceremonies. And again, this is, I'm still a newbie, a baby beginner, and loving every second of being in that phase. I'm also really learning how to incorporate all my different skills and be confident in it, even though I am a beginner. And that's one thing I really loved about my course and my teacher, Sarah from Tea Huntress. Highly recommend you look her up. She talked about she wanted to empower all of us to make it our own. And of course, have reverence for the practice and the traditions and the culture and the history. And we went so deep into all of that and learned about all of that. And I find that so important. And at the same time, to be okay with making it our own. And this is actually a pattern I've noticed a lot in my life, is learning the rules to break the rules. And I've done this in yoga, in herbalism, in tea ceremony. In most places in my life, I love learning. I love studying. I love knowing where things came from and really knowing the lineage and the traditions and wanting, for lack of a better word, the purity of it. Wanting to know the most perfect way to do it. And that's both because of my perfectionism and wanting to be the best and know all the things. And also because I think that there is deep reverence for lineage, for teachers, for the fact that these practices have been passed down for a very long time. They're ancient and that's important and that's for a reason. And so learning those rules and being so grounded in them and embodied in them that I know when to then incorporate my own spin on things. And I feel confident in that. I don't feel like I'm stepping out of line and not paying respect to the cultures that these practices come from, or the traditions or the lineages, or like I don't know what I'm talking about. It feels even more embodied because it's a mix of the traditional with my own intuition, and it all feels very true to me versus sticking strictly to the traditional rules so that certain teachers or belief systems will approve, but it doesn't feel 100% authentic to me, or going too much in the other direction. And really being confident in myself as a leader and a guide and a practitioner. That's been huge for me in all areas of my life, really. I'm not going to talk about this too much because we're just in the beginning phases, but started a rebrand for Intuitively Wild. I'm working with some amazing branding designers. The brand is called Nature, and more on them soon, but there really is something to be said for working with people who you just, first of all, click with, and also who you are so excited to work with, who you just see their creative genius, you see their care and their love and their excitement and support for working with you, and that energy is reciprocated. So that felt exciting. And on that note, there are some big changes happening for Intuitively Wild soon that I'm really excited to share. Not to leave you on an annoying cliffhanger, but I am for now. And with that being said, let us go into April. So I recently wrote a Substack, and it came out last Monday, March 24th, about anticipatory anxiety and my main intention for the spring season. And I don't want to go into all of that because I think you should read it. And it's one of my favorite Substacks I wrote because I think it really hones in on a key core component of my anxiety that I haven't written about before, but that really is like a core piece that I grapple with every single day. But one thing I talked about was this intention of stating this sentence to myself every day and really embodying it and claiming it. And the intention, the mantra, the statement is, I am a magnet for good luck, joy, and abundance. And I've had some qualms with statements like that in the past with people with mantras and certain practices that feel too bypassy or too positive, or like people were telling me to feel a certain way when I didn't actually believe it, or just overlook things I needed to work through and just be happy all the time, be positive all the time. And that's not what this is. This intention feels so powerful for me now because it is what I need right now. It came to me at the perfect timing. And I guess I'll give some context so you're not super confused if you haven't read the Substack yet. But this intention is to help me really believe this, because I've had so much anticipatory anxiety and so much anxiety around uncertainty and letting go of control. And I've realized that that's because I'm assuming that the future is negative or not going to be something I can handle. And so I automatically am afraid of it. But if I believe that what I'm drawing to me is for my greatest good, it's going to bring me joy and abundance and luck, then maybe I won't be so afraid of it. Maybe I'll be able to embrace it more. And I really want to rewire that belief in my brain. But again, that's not something I was ready to do until now, at least not to this degree in this way. But now I am. I don't feel annoyed when I state that sentence. I actually feel excited about it. I actually feel like it's true. I actually feel like it's something I want to believe and want to be my automatic thought. And this really speaks to trusting your timing and allowing yourself to be ready for what you're ready for. We can't rush our healing. You can't be ready to heal on a certain level when you're just not there yet. You can't be ready to do a certain thing when you're just not ready yet. And so allowing yourself to take your time, allowing yourself to be where you are at and to do what you need to do. It's like if an ankle is broken and the doctor is telling you that it should be healed by now and you should be able to walk on it. And every other patient at this time was able to walk on it now. And so just go and walk on your ankle and it should be fine. And just tell yourself it's healed and it will be healed. But you're trying to walk on it and it hurts. You're in pain. You can't, it's just getting worse. You can't walk on it. And so allowing yourself to be like, okay, I'm at where I'm at. The ankle's not ready for me to walk on it yet. And so I'm just going to give it the timing, even though everyone else is healing at a quicker pace or able to do things differently. And then one day you wake up and you're able to walk on the ankle and it actually feels stronger than it ever has or that you ever imagined it could, because you let it go through the healing process that you needed and not that anyone else told you that you needed or in any other way that you thought you should. So I guess think about how that could apply to your life and what you're going through right now, and really lean into your pace, your path, your timing, and allow it to be what it is. Allow yourself to be where you are at. And so my invitation for you, if you are ready and willing, is to choose one intention to lean into and embody right now, and that you can really state and claim and declare for yourself. Is there a subconscious belief that has been running the show that you are ready to let go of? What, as you're listening to this podcast, what is coming up for you? Because also this intention has stemmed from my reflections that I was just sharing, and how if I continue to let my anxiety control me and fear the past and keep me stuck in control and wanting to stick to my schedule and rigidity and routine, then I can't embody this next chapter that I am embracing. I can't step into my purpose. I can't step into my joy. I can't create the connections that I want to in the community that I want to. I can't be the person that I want to. And so I am now ready to change that for myself. And so when you reflect on what the last few years or the last month has brought up for you, what journey you are ending and what new cycle you are beginning, what is coming up for you. Start to look at themes and patterns and experiences you've had that are maybe pointing you in a direction, and be honest with yourself and say, what subconscious belief is running the show that might sabotage this next chapter for me or my true heart's desires? And where am I at in readiness around shifting that mindset? And how can I meet myself with where I am at in order to embrace the new? I think that's all I have to say for right now. Oh, I should say that I'm drinking the Spring Seasonal Shifts tea, and this tea was only available for our spring equinox event, although I do have a couple. I made way more than I needed, so I do have some extras if you are interested. I am obsessed with this tea, and it will definitely be one of my biggest grounding allies this spring season as we're in the craziness of spring. But I'm so ready for spring. Let me just say that. I'm so ready for warm weather. That is one thing I can be grateful for the 4 seasons and for the intensity of the winter that we just had, is that this spring and summer is going to feel so good. If you are in the upstate New York area, I would love to connect with you in person soon. So look out for future opportunities to do that. If you are not in the New York area, I would still love to connect with you. Please reach out. You can DM me on Instagram, Substack, you can email me, anything. I would be truly so thrilled to hear from you, and I would love to hear what this podcast prompted in you, what reflections you have from the last month or the last few years, and what your intentions are for the spring season or for April. Oh, and a reminder that you should watch this on YouTube. If you are feeling called, it would mean so much to me if you rated and reviewed this podcast and shared it with a friend or a family member or just someone you think would really benefit from it. This podcast, really all my work, but this podcast especially is a labor of love. And so that would mean a lot to me. But ultimately, I just want to hear from you guys, because one reason I love doing the podcast in this format where it feels like a tea time talk is because I want it to emulate a conversation that we're just sitting down, chatting, having tea together. So I would love to hear from you and to hear the other side of this conversation. I just want to remind you all to let yourself be where you are at and to embrace that and be okay with that and accept that. And to also push yourself onto your path and be okay with the discomfort. To trust yourself, because you are more capable than you might believe. Okay, I'll see you all next time for more magic. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Intuitively Wild, the podcast. I hope it helped deepen your connection to yourself, sparked some insights, and inspired you to live intuitively wild. If you enjoyed this podcast, it would mean so much to me if you would share it with others and leave a rating and review. And please reach out to me. I would love to connect with you. I will see you next time for more magic.